It's Reverend Ahmondra, and I'm getting ready to deliver a whole series for the month of February, Black History Month. We'll be talking about cultural justice and Black women. For years, we've always talked about social justice, but very seldom, if ever, do you hear a conversation about cultural justice. So, what is that? It is bringing justice to our culture. And I'm not just discussing what we've done in this country. We are African Americans. Our country is here, but our country is also back in our homeland. Each year, when Black history comes around, and this has been occurring for me for 30 years, I have mixed emotions inside. I'm excited, yes, because for a month we get to celebrate our history. But I hurt inside because for the other 11 months of the year, we go unnoticed. But this month, I'm going to be talking about something that's near and dear to my heart. And to each and every one of our hearts, I'm sure, it's cultural justice. We have a culture that was removed from our psyche when we were taken from the motherland. I feel so blessed that I was able to go to San Francisco State University when it was rich with the Black Studies Department. We had professors that taught us about philosophy, that gave us cultural information, and explained to us who we were. But it wasn't until I moved to Ghana and lived there for a year did I really truly understand on a soul level who I am as a Black woman from the African diaspora and what I represent on this planet. And this month, I'm going to be talking about Black women reclaiming our culture, cultural justice. The introduction that I want to kick off for this week has to do with what was removed from us when we were kidnapped from our homeland. The first thing that they took from us was our language. We were taken from tribes, and each tribe had their own particular language that they communicated in. Well, when they put us on those ships, they broke those tribes up so that we could not communicate. But we're so powerful, we did create a way to communicate. But when we landed in this country, we weren't with our brothers and sisters, and we didn't have a common language, although we had created a language on those ships to be able to communicate with each other. When we got here, not only were we traumatized from being taken from our families, our culture, our villages, they took our names from us. Now, it's important to understand what names mean to Africans. It's not some arbitrary word given to a baby when it's born. In Africa, names have meanings. Babies are named according to what virtue that family wants that baby to bring into this world. You have children that are named Justice because the family wants justice. You have children that are called Happy, Harmony, Peace, Prosperous, because a name means something in Africa. Our culture dictates that we have names that represent who we are in our families, in our tribes. Children also have names that designate where they are in the family. If you're a firstborn, you have this name. A secondborn, you have that name. So that when you're out and about and somebody says, "Who are you?" and you give them your name, they know automatically where you rank in that family. Names are also given according to the day of the week that you were born. This was really hilarious for me because when I went to Africa and they asked me, "What day of the week were you born on, my sister?" And I said, "Wednesday." Well, they went and looked it up and they came back. They said, "No, no, 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 no. You're born on Saturday. You're coffee." And I didn't even know what day of the week I was born on. I had the wrong information. That's how important names are. And they removed those names from us and gave us whatever name they thought we should have. That removed a deep part of our culture from us. We were also forbidden to honor our ancestors. Ancestry is powerful. It it connects us not just with those who are living today. It connects us with our bloodline. In Africa, when they have celebrations, they have someone called a speaker or MC, and that person stands up and that person calls out the names of the family. And it goes back generations and it's unbroken because we are not just connected to those folks that we were born to, we're connected to many, many individuals who are gone. And Africans honor the ancestors. That was removed from us. We were forbidden to acknowledge our ancestors. That was a piece of culture ripped from our heart. We also celebrate life. We celebrate the earth. We celebrate all elements of the world. And we do it in song and in dance and with drums. The drums vibrate. And in that vibration, we are connected to the universe. We were forbidden to use the drums when we got here. So they took our language, they took our names, they forbid us from honoring our ancestors, and then they took our cultural celebrations away from us. And that occurred for 247 years. We were not allowed to connect with our culture. And I'm talking about that culture that runs through our DNA. And even though it was removed from us, it's still inside of us. Do you remember the 70s, 80s, where African Americans started naming their children according to what virtues they wanted, according to how they felt their child should be named, and the school system went crazy, and the teachers didn't want to learn how to spell the child's name, definitely didn't want to learn how to say the child's name, and the country, not our community, but other communities were up in arms because we were naming our children according to how we wanted to name our children. That's a part of our culture. It is so deep within us. And so this month, I'm going to be talking about cultural justice. There are many legacies that African American women stand inside of, and those legacies show us who we are. Those legacies were given to us so that we could survive in this country. We need to understand what those legacies are, why they were given to us, and what they are doing to us now inside of the system that we live in. I'm going to be talking about the legacy of silence. For those of you who read my book, you know what the legacy of silence is about. But I'm going to talk about that. This month, I'm also going to be talking about the legacy of mothering. That is a powerful legacy. In Africa, mothers are revered and they are honored. No mother is left alone to take care of her child. You know, the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. That is a way of being in African culture. And it's also in the African American culture. And when I was a social worker, one of the most difficult tasks that I had was to remove a black child from their family and place them in another family and pay that other family who did not look like them money to take care of them. This month, I'm also going to be talking about the legacy of endurance. Black women endure all manner of circumstances, and that is because of who we are. We are queens. That runs through our bloodline. When the invaders rode up on Africa, queens went out to meet them. Said, oh, no, I don't think so. African women arrived here in this country with many skills. We were commodity and we were exploited. The exploitation that goes on today has a lot to do with cultural justice. No matter where we show up in this particular society, there is someone who wants to remove us from that space. Why is that? It's because of who we are and the power that we bring. It is time for Black women to have cultural justice. We've worked too hard and too long and provided too much to not have recognition. And that recognition comes inside of cultural justice. So this month, we are going to be celebrating Black History Month by honoring and talking about cultural justice. I invite you to join me. I invite you to send out my videos, and I look forward to jumping into Black History Month with you. Blessings